Greetings, dear colleagues, the public, and the candidate. Today, on the 19th of January 2025, the advisory group of experts gathered to conduct an interview with the candidate for the position of Judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, Medvedenko Oleksandr Petrovich. In particular, AGE members are present: AGE Secretary Maureen O'Connor, AGE members Alice Zaller, Vasil Shakun, Yaroslav Romaniuk, member of AGE Madam Hanna Sukotska, and me, AGE Chairman Oksana Vasilchenko. Also, during the interview, we have deputy members of AGE present: Richard Barr, Marek Zubik, Vitaly Makinchuk, Volodymyr Kuzmenko. I know that we work in a shelter, so in the event of an air raid alert, interview will continue without interruption. I would also like to remind you that the interview is being recorded and broadcast live, and therefore I draw the attention of the members of the EG and the candidate regarding the restriction of the use of sensitive data and information with limited access live. If it is necessary to discuss such issues, the AGA will limit the broadcast at this time. And this interview is being recorded and broadcast live on the resources of the AGE and the website of the CCU. We are ready to begin, so I give the floor to the AGE Secretary, Madam Maureen O'Connor, for a brief introduction of the candidate and to remind us the rules of the interview.
Madam Chair, good afternoon, dear colleagues, and the public who is viewing us in this endeavor today, and greeting to our candidate. As the chair has already said, the advisory group of experts will now conduct an interview with the candidate Oleksandr Medvedenko. Let me remind you that the interview is an option that the candidate has, but it is mandatory that we offer that option to the candidate as part of assessing their compliance with the criterion of high moral qualities. One interview is given approximately 1 hour and no more, and the time limit for answering questions is no more than 3 minutes. Traditionally, we ask candidates to be concise, to answer clearly, unambiguously, and to the essence of the question that is put forth. At the end of the interview, the candidate can make a short final statement with no more than 5 minutes. I would also like to note that during the processing of materials about candidate Medvedenko, the AGE sent him questions to provide written explanations, so the candidate has had the opportunity to prepare and to provide answers for this interview. So now we have with us the candidate for the position of Judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, who was admitted to the competitive selection simultaneously by the Committee of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. All right, the candidate has significant experience in law enforcement. From 1998 to 2002, he worked at the Ministry of Internal Affairs of Ukraine in Kyiv, holding positions of district inspector, investigator, and senior investigator of the Serious Crimes Investigation Department. Later, he moved to law practice and entrepreneurial activity. Since 2008, he has been working as a lawyer as an individual entrepreneur. Since 2020, he has been a member of the Kyiv Traditional Election Commissions. Mr. Medvedenko, is there anything you'd like to add to what I have just said? You have up to 3 minutes to do so.
Thank you. As for the presentation or introduction, all correct, but as for the membership in the Kiev Territorial Election Commission, by the resolution of the Central Commission, there was the change, so I ceased my membership there. But the rest is correct. This resolution has been received recently. I was not informed, so I took this information. It's information present in the open sources, so you may check it there. So let's start a round of questions to you, and I kindly ask Madam Hanna to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander. I would like to ask you some questions concerning your membership in the Kiev City Territorial Election Commission. Under what circumstances, since 2020, did you become a member of the Kiev City of this body? In your written answer to the questions of the advisory group of experts, you noted that membership in the Kiev City Election Commission was offered by your friend. Which acquaintance offered you to be a member of such a body?
Thank you for your question. Yes, indeed, I informed, but I replied in written about my acquaintance in my written answers, but I will remind the members of the AGE. Perhaps you didn't consider this, but I shall repeat myself that I am a lawyer, and correspondingly I exercise my activity in different categories of cases. As of 2011, I have started participating in the electoral processes. First as an observer, even though I also participated the Ministry of Internal Affairs also, but as the official, and this was my interest. That's why as of the beginning of 2011 up until 2020, participating in the almost every electoral campaign, either as an observer or as a lawyer of the company or as a representative of the candidate or as a trusted person, I had managed to accumulate the pool of lawyers that I was acquainted with. As of 2019, different lawyers contacted me asking me whether or not I would participate in this or that campaign as a lawyer. And Oleksandr Shevchenko, who's one of my acquaintances, he suggested me participating in different campaigns. In 2020, I got a suggestion to become the member of the district TEC. But during the meeting in the office of the political party, I was offered not to be the member of the regional, but the Kiev City Territorial Election Commission. I have applied, and as of that moment, my candidacy was applied to the commission on the quota of the civil servant, servant of the people that had its fraction in the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine. As for Mr. Shevchenko, he had no impact on my participation in this campaign because it was an open job opening. It's a public work. It's a non-paid work. It's only paid for one day of elections in accordance with the current legislation. So the suggestion itself I got from the specialist and the person who many times has participated in the electoral processes.
Received the place as a member of concrete political party because it was reserved for the party, yes, as you said, servant of the people. And you represented.
No, I'm no member of this political party, and I have never been a member of any political party. But this position, after my application, yes.
To the, how to say, quota of this party, and you were elected as a civil.
Yes, that's what I just said. The fraction has been formed in the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, yes.
And what was your job responsibilities when you were the member of this body?
The duties of the member of the Territorial Election Commission is defined within the current legislation. In accordance with the stage of the procedure that I became the member, there was the check of the documents of the candidates who applied, and also had to be on duty and participate in the sessions. So no specific duties we have identified in the Commission. For example, I wasn't part of the managerial composition. I was not a chair or a secretary or the deputy. So no such proposals go. Just like many other members of the Commission, I observed the legality of the procedure defined within the law, and I checked the documents, criteria of application by from certain candidates who wanted to be the participants to the process. Not only candidates, but also observers, foreign observers. So their correctness, legality of the documents that they have submitted.
Further on, we were observing the process of production of voting bulletins as a collective body. We all together went to Ukraine factory. Almost the entire composition of the commission went there. We got acquainted with the process of printing. Then, after that, we were involved into conduct of trainings for lower level commissions, because that's also the duty delegated to the commission of the higher level. So that first of all, the commissions had members, so that all members of those lower level commissions are professional. Of course, it depends on submission, because there were some instances in different commissions. I'm not talking about Kyiv, but during other elections when they lacked experience, so it was necessary to respond adequately for the replacement of some members, etc. And accordingly, establishment of the result. So a day of preparation of election, and then establishment of the result, that is collection of those data that would be provided by lower level commissions. Those were results established by lower level commissions, which brought us minutes, and these minutes were analyzed by members of the Kyiv City Commission, and later on the minutes to be transferred to the Central Election Commission was prepared based on results which we received from lower level commissions.
Thank you. But as I mentioned, you noted that this post was offered by your friend. Could you describe your personal relationships when you played the role in this body? Did your acquaintance influence your decision during the work as a member of the election committee? Because you are not a member of the party, but we would like to know if somebody influenced your work and you were completely independent.
Thank you for your question. The suggestion of that person who gave this suggestion to me, he gave it to me upon a request of participants of the process from the party, that is, representatives of the party. What was his role there, and I did not know about that. He told me that they were requesting that. The team that started organizing the election process, that is, lawyers, the company of lawyers, as of the moment of election, they were replaced. New people came there. New lawyers were there. So this person did not influence this process at all. With respect to further situation, then this person was a representative of one of the candidates for the position of the city mayor. But inside the commission, we decided that a member of the commission from a specific entity, or who is close, for example, to the person applying for this position, in order to avoid any questions about which from the society, we did not accept documents from them, but representatives of another nominating entity did that in order to ensure this impartiality and independence and openness of the process. So no influence from the party on any of the decisions that I took personally, or from the representative of some entity related to the party, has never been on me. Besides, all decisions that were taken were collective. This is the collective body. If I saw some unlawfulness, or if I disagreed with some decision, I always had an opportunity to provide my dissenting opinion or in writing. So During this process that was taking place, there were no facts like that, neither minor or major facts that could influence the legality of the process. So that was the way how it happened.
Say that you felt completely, how to say, independent making this role.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that is obvious from the result that we got. So there were no disputes regarding the outcome. There were no meetings where there were no complaints with respect to me. If, for example, there were some complaints against some other entities that someone could that it could be perceived that there was interference from other nominating entities, and these complaints were filed to the Central Election Commission, then with respect to me, there were no complaints like that. I adhered to all provisions of the legislation, and that is why I was invited, in order to follow the procedure, because I was aware of the procedure.
Yes, but you know, thank you for the explanation. You were appointed since 2020 to the Electoral Commission, and now since 2022, you have been an assistant consultant to the Member of Parliament Sergei Kozer on a voluntary basis. Under what circumstances did you become an assistant to the Member of Parliament? As you said, you are not a member of the political party. You felt yourself independent. So what was the reason and why you were chosen to be an assistant?
During communication in the Commission with those representatives, mostly these were professional lawyers, in particular lawyers specializing in election processes and election law, etc. I got acquainted with these people, and I received an offer from one of the members that some of her colleagues became the head of the Kiev city organization of the Servant of the People Party, and they were looking for a lawyer on election procedures to work there. It was one position, and then they divided it. As I have mentioned, at the beginning of the election process, the team changed. Back then it was the third team, and now it's the fifth team already. So I was offered that. It was fine with me because it was part-time work. I could work either until lunch or after lunch, and I had the right to combine it with my lawyer's activities. These were conditions which we negotiated at once. For example, in Kiev region, they got a lawyer. As far as I know, he continued his lawyer's activities. He was providing services as to their client. I registered my relations with the party as with the client through this part-time employment for half a day. Later on, and accordingly, I communicated with the office of the party with the legal part, because one legal part is dealing with commercial issues related to conclusions of rent agreements, etc., and legal issues related to election processes, which could happen, analysis of legislation, etc. So I was dealing with these lawyers in this respect. So these lawyers offered to me to become the assistant consultant for Sergei Kozer. That is a new member of the parliament who was elected in late 2021 to become a member of the Verkhovna Rada. And in order to communicate with the legal office, I was offered to be with him, but pro bono. So again, it was not tying me to some full-time work with him. It was just an offer in the form of communication. That's how it happened.
You know, it was everyday work, or you only, how to say, were active in several days? How you work? What was your main, how to say, obligation, your duties as a volunteer assistant?
with respect to this position of the assistant consultant. In late 2021, we had a meeting and agreement of me as a candidate for this position of the assistant consultant. And since it was the end of the year, we decided that we would start our work and that we would decide on directions of our work at the beginning of the year. And it was not clear which directions would be because Serhiy was not affiliated with any committee of the parliament back then, so it was not known which directions and which work he would have in the parliament. At the beginning of the year, that was pandemics, we postponed it for some period of time until the end of the quarantine, and then the full scale invasion started. So that's why we had a meeting with Serhiy sometime in May. I think in May we had a meeting with several assistants who back then also probably before the new year they agreed to be assistants, but not all of them stayed after all of these processes. And basically, until the end of summer, due to family circumstances, because I have two children whom I financially supported, the party work was not ongoing. So accordingly, I was offered a job in the another part of Kiev. But given the security situation, given that I had to take my children to the kindergarten and to school, and then to go to another part of the city, I resigned. Besides, in addition to work in the party, for this part-time work, my main work was work as the lawyer. So I agreed to work with a client because they could not conclude any other agreement with me. So with Serhiy, as of the moment of my resignation, we communicated only with respect to issues related to him joining the committee, the work of some committees, work with IDPs. So what was planned, all of these circumstances changed. And besides, I did not have any connection with the party. After liberation of Kherson, I, together with his assistants, I got in touch with many activists from Kherson who were close to his election district, because we wanted to understand how I could be of use, or how this election district could be developed if I could help the work for the People's Deputy. So I needed to conduct the analysis. There were some plans, some projects. Accordingly, some projects which were planned back then, I see now that these projects have been implemented not by Mr. Serhiy, but by other institutions. So after liberation of Kherson, I took part in collection of humanitarian aid. This was my personal wish to help those people who stayed there. I got in touch with the assistant. He told me that they received potable water and it had to be supplied. And I organized the collection of funds for its supply. And we had this interaction. Thanks to my clients, acquaintances, I could provide some assistance for the humanitarian aid for the fund that was initiated back then. Later on, it became clear to me that some members of the parliament created civil society organization IDP, that's Association for IDPs, and accordingly they had some humanitarian issues and they resolved them in a broader context. And initially, in order to get this humanitarian aid, I, as a lawyer, provided assistance to his assistants. I was preparing some template letters with requests to organizations. Oleksandr, can you come back, please, closer to the question? I think that's it.
Yes, sorry, but exactly you described your full activity. But we would like to know if there is some activities and job in which you are involved, which could be in contradiction with your role as eventually a future judge in the Constitutional Court, because you have to keep independence and impartiality, and being involved in so many activities, especially political activity, it can create an impression for observers that you are not fully independent and impartial. What is your opinion?
With respect to this, I can say the following. Contact with the party is over for me, and I completed it after resignation from the Kiev City organization. With respect to communication with a member of the parliament, uh, I did not have duties as such, only in the humanitarian perspective, or only some legal consultations only. I did not have duties, and I did not depend on the party or the member of the parliament while applying for this competition and other competitions. I did not inform the member of the parliament about that, because the powers were expiring according to the law. It's obvious that these issues would emerge. I informed that I applied for the competition, and that they provided me with the extension of my authorized document, which I used twice or 3 times to enter the committee. And that's all communication. And that's the communication. The communication that was planned did not happen because of all these circumstances that I mentioned. Maybe we would have worked more productively, but in this direction we did not continue this.
It is not a problem concerning productivity or not productivity of the work, but how to say the combining of two different positions. And it would be difficult to imagine that you can be a judge to the Constitutional Court and at the same time to be an assistant to the Member of Parliament, even despite what kind of role you will play as an assistant. So,
with respect to this
question, if you are ready to answer the question, please, but then we move to next one.
I would like to add one more comment. As I thought my powers as the assistant were over, and I did not continue my work as the assistant. But given that the authorities of the members of the parliament continue according to the law, right now, in case of the positive result under this competition, I would need to undergo the procedure and to leave the number of assistants. Mr. Oleksandr, the question is more whether you can assure us and the public that you will be independent and impartial. I am assuring that I will be impartial, and basically this impartiality in this case, that was mostly the essence of the question of Hanna. Yes. Yes, let's listen to questions attentively. Alexander, and I have some questions about real estate and movable property owned by you and your family members. In particular, can you please explain based on which grounds you and your mother acquired the right of ownership for an apartment in Kiev with a total area of 63 square meters in March of 2002? I used to work in internal affairs bodies. As a young specialist, I was registered as a person who required improvement of residential conditions. Back then, I lived in my parents' place, and not even parents, it was my grandparents' place. Let's talk about this apartment, Mr. Alexander. Yes, since I worked in Kiev and I lived in the region, I required improvement of residential conditions. Accordingly, after a year of work, upon the offer of my former head, I followed him to the main division of Kiev, And this way I continued working, and I had quality indicators regarding my performance. During one of the meetings under one of the cases, the management appreciated my work and they asked me about social problems. I told them that I used to live in Kiev region and asked whether they wanted to resolve this issue. They suggested to buy an apartment under 50 by 50 program. Part of funds was covered from the city budget, and I had to pay part of funds on my own. My mother was also registered to receive the apartment, and I asked whether we could combine it. And back then, they suggested to me to take part in it. That was not about the mother. They told me that I could, I and my family members could join this program. So there was determined the amount under this program from Kiev Miskbud, the construction company, as far as I remember, and I paid funds according to the schedule. All of the documents have been provided to the AG in copies.
I'm just asking you right now that this apartment, yes, you had the right for it as the employee of the in the internal affairs. So did you get this apartment only for you and your mother? And did you and only your mother reside in this apartment? Yes. And what were the sources of original funds for the purchase of this apartment to pay 50% of the cost of this price? The sources of original funds, these were usually our savings. uh, Even the savings of my father, partially, who died 2 years before that. Because he was supposed to have a surgery and we were saving money in USD. And I'm hold on. We have a timeline. And we also borrowed some small amount. Tell us how much. I have specified in the written explanations. We borrowed up to 20% from the amount. And the question was whether it was going to be a one-bedroom apartment or two-bedroom apartment. Alexander Petrovich, can you confirm who did you borrow money from? Part of money I borrowed from my uncle. Unfortunately, he passed away. And another part from some of my acquaintances, but that was a very little amount. But can you approximately tell us? Uh, Maybe 1500 USD. And these were my relatives and friends, so we would pay them back without interest rate. And we did have some time to do that, to repay. Tell us what was the share of this apartment after you stopped using it. I am still using this object as the owner. As the owner, I am using it in the way that I identify. So how do you identify this means of use? Do you reside there? No, I don't live there. And who lives there? Well, my acquaintances. So you rent it? No, no. How does it work? My acquaintances live in this apartment. Tell us, please, is it the free use? Yes, it's free of charge. It's like charity, roughly speaking. I see your answer. Let's talk about the another apartment. This is the apartment that belongs to you and your wife in Boyarka city, and it belongs to you as of October 2016. Please detail the sources of funds for the purchase of this apartment. The sources of funds are my income as a lawyer and entrepreneur. The sources are also the salary of my wife. These were the main sources, and all these sources, the amounts, I have indicated them in the previous declaration that I have submitted to the tax authority. So this amount was enough. When have you started using this apartment? Well, using it to full extent as of last year, as of summer, I think. During the invasion, we stayed there because it was a better option during shellings rather than an old house. Plus, it has a shelter. So this was, but back then I had or furniture ordered, and I was ready for the renovations. But the position of my wife, I mean, we had a place where to stay. We lived 500 meters away from it. So you were not using this apartment because you were renovating it. Yes, but we already wanted to move in when everything would be refurbished. Could you tell us approximately how much the renovation took? Up to 200,000 additionally we paid to the developer apart from the purchase price, and then around 400,000. The repairs lasted from 2016 until 2023. Which were the sources of this money? Our own pay as an entrepreneur. I have declared all of it, and the salary of my wife. So we have declared all of this income and paid taxes. And your wife also owns Hyundai Tucson as of produced in 2023. Did you have enough funds to do the renovations and also to purchase the car with almost 1,200,000 hryvnias? We purchased this, we took a loan to purchase the car. In Declaration 2023, I have reflected it as expenditures. It was $12,000, the amount that I had as of 2018, and that was the payment to my wife as her maternity leave in the organization where we worked, and we then exchanged it in USD, and we had them like stored. It was like a reserve money for us that we intended to use in order to purchase a new car. And I did indicate the expenditures on this car in my declaration, and there was the sale purchase agreement concluded, but since we have concluded in the end of the year, I did not show the obligations in the 2024, but I have attached the copy of the agreement to the AGE for them to analyze it. And you are now repaying the loan, yes, for the car. Using which funds? That I get from my entrepreneurial activity and the salary of my wife. Thank you. Madam Hannah, please, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Now I would like to put the question concerning your participation in numerous competitive procedures for vacant position in the prosecutor's office and courts of general jurisdictions. You know, in the period of 5 years' time, from 2017 to 2023, you participated in the competition for the position of judge of the appeals chamber of the High Anti-Corruption Court, in the competition for the position of prosecutor of the Chernomorsk District Prosecutor's Office of the Odessa region, in the competition for the position of prosecutor of the Kiev Regional Prosecutor's Office, as well as several times in competitions for the position of judge of the Kiev Court of Appeal, and now also as a judge in the competition for the Constitutional Court. Explain for what purpose you participated in so many above-mentioned competitions, and what is your main motivations to participate in competitions to be a prosecutor in prosecutor office or in courts of general jurisdictions, and what is your priority now? Yes, because you are starting to the highest court, which is the Constitutional Court. Could you explain it?
Thank you for your question. As for the participation in these competitions, As far as the members of the AGE know, there was the competition held to the Supreme Court of Ukraine, and it was a rather transparent procedure. And the new stage of the competition selection took place 1 year later. Me, as a person in the legal profession, having the experience of the lawyer and investigator, I noticed these competition and that I could participate in the framework of my legal profession because I didn't choose any other direction, even though I could, use some other options. But in the format of participation in the judicial system, yes. I was very limited in time when I have applied for the competition, and I have applied for the appeals chamber of the High Anti-Corruption Court. During one of the briefings, by the way, I have learned that the next competition will be to the appeals chamber of General Courts of Criminal Specialization. I am a criminalist, and I had some scientific activity in the sphere of the criminal law. So this was the direction that I like, and this was a newly established court, so this was my specialty. So I have applied for this competition. I have undergone the procedure. I had some scores, and I decided that I will proceed to participate in the next competition to the appeals chamber, and I have submitted the documents in both the first and the second one, and the documents were received, and the level of my competence was confirmed, and it was confirmed that I had enough experience, and I participated. So in 5 years, this competition didn't take place. It was ceased in September 2021. So given that the competition didn't take place, and for me to be just alerted still about all these procedures, I decided to apply at least to a similar competition. I really wanted to verify my level. I wanted to undergo the procedure because that one differed much from the previous one. That's why I participated in the competition of the Chernomorsk District Prosecutor's Office. I just wanted to train myself. And the next competition to Kiev Regional Prosecutor's Office. Again, I applied for that competition. I arrived to the competition. I have taken note of the way the procedure went, and if I did pass the competition procedure, I would work as a prosecutor, because being in the court processes, I see lack of prosecutors. We don't have many of them, and we are asking you about motivation. You're saying that you participate in the competition to keep to be trained. No, I was just saying why I have combined prosecution and the courts of appeal. When the competition was over, I still participated, and in the Kiev Court of Appeal. So I wanted to be in good shape, and life also makes its accents. I have prepared for the competition, but in the moment before applying for the competition, I didn't get enough points to pass on that competition. And I just wanted to continue my work in the direction of the legal profession. As for this competition in particular, I noticed this competition in the beginning of the year. I have revised that Serhiy Holovatov and other three judges are already going to be out of their mandate, and so one of the main urges for me was that the advisory group of experts encouraged the legal experts to participate, because usually according to the results, not so many of them could participate. I don't know what was the reason, the martial law or other reasons. Maybe more people would participate, so I decided to participate. And of course this competition is very important for me. And it's not because I just train for my life. I mean, I explained to you why I participated in the competition for the prosecution, because I wanted to prepare for the next competition, but life didn't grant me that opportunity back then. That's why I applied for the competition in the CCU, because I think that the position of the judge in the CCU is more important. For me as a lawyer, and the people of Ukraine, the CCU is something that is very efficient, and that's why I participate in this competition. There were many other competitions that are not court related or judicial sphere related. So I did participate there, but these were like affiliated spheres.
That you are looking for the competition where they are open, and you start in all the competitions. And sometimes you made such an impression they would like to be at the same time prosecutor and judge all together. But I think how the procedure will go on, yes, all the functions. So thank you. I have no more question. It was my only comment.
Шановні колеги, чи є ще
Dear colleagues, are there any other questions for the candidate? I have a small question. Yes, Vasil Ivanovich. Tell us which education establishment you graduated from, the National Academy for Internal Affairs. Do you have any scientific papers or other knowledge in the sphere of the constitutional law that you could use when working as a judge of the CCU? Thank you for your question. In the sphere of the constitutional law, I have no scientific papers, but I have scientific papers in the sphere of the criminal law. They are published. Can you name at least one? The scientific publications, development of the criminal legislation for the illegal actions. Could you please payment tools, comparative approach, so the same title but comparative approach. Where were they published? 3 papers were published in entrepreneurial magazine. Another one was Visnik. It was published once, and that is 2006. Department in Червоний Хутір, Herald, and the publication in the journal Moldova. A number of publications where I published lots of theses up until 2019 in the framework of my dissertation research. Dear colleagues, are there any other questions for the candidate? Madam Marine?
I have a question. Let's go back to the fact that you have an apartment, your first apartment, and rather than selling it, you allow friends to live there for free. Is that correct?
Yes.
Those friends, and what do they do for a living?
These are not friends, these are my acquaintances. I have met one person during the Dignity Revolution period, and in 2019 he asked me for a place of living. We wanted to sell this apartment with the perspective of purchasing other apartments for our children. Therefore, I did have a chance to stay, but given the pandemic and then the martial law, I didn't change my position because I don't know what to do now, whether to sell it or not. So this way, So since my acquaintance is well a soldier, so I can't say no to his family because his family is living now without him there. So I am making a sort of my contribution, perhaps, as a charity. Well, I cannot say charity, but this is my position, my relation or attitude towards the military. So this way, at least this way, I'm making my contribution.
Nothing further.
Шановні колеги,
Dear colleagues, if there are no more questions, Oleksandr Petrovich, you have up to 5 minutes to make a final statement. Thank you, dear members of the AGE, for the opportunity to participate in this competition. The information that I have provided I provided as much as I could information about my life, about my income. I am the diligent person, and this is also the way I am raising my children as conscientious people. So that's why I think that I can represent in a dignified way if I proceed to all stages, that I will represent with dignity people of Ukraine in the position of the judge of the CCU, and via participating in different sessions and case considerations that will be under consideration by the CCU. I would like to thank uh, all people who have something to do with the armed forces, defense forces. I would like to thank all the citizens, also foreign citizens, that we can continue in the conditions of the armed aggression, the competition that has the direct impact on the further destiny of our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for your responses. Dear colleagues, dear public, now I am declaring interview with the candidate for the position of the Judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine, Medvedenko Oleksandr Petrovich, over.